called out his former team. Take a listen to Dr. J, y'all.
It's reminiscent of how the Yankees used to do all the time. You know, they load up, man. They call it buying a championship. And the Lakers are known for doing that too.
Slick Rick is back, but Acho, you love or hate Dr. J saying this.
I love it, bruh, because Dr. J not lying. You talk about the Nets buying a championship or some teams, some players buying their way in. I'm going to break this down for y'all real simply, Slick. We got other conversations to be had about Steph Curry continuing off air, but let's talk this right now. In basketball, to me, as an former NFL player, the greatest thing they got going on, guaranteed contracts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like the fact that you could be on another team and still be getting paid. You could be retired in some cases and checks are still cashing. Guaranteed contracts to me are the greatest thing about basketball. So if you got a contract that's guaranteed, it would baffle me for you to ever give money up. Like that would just be baffling. If it's guaranteed to you, why in the world would you ever give it up? But it's crazy because Blake Griffin, with his buyout, gave $13.3 million back.
It's nothing.
To join the Nets. It's baffling to me that, unfortunately, LaMarcus Aldridge just had to retire, but with his buyout, he gave $6 million back to join the Nets. So not only are players, the Nets, really buying, if you will, figuratively speaking, these players, but you got players giving money to go to the Nets. Again, now, the other crazy thing I have to mention is James Harden. He kicked, he screamed, he whined, he might even cried to get to the Nets. Blake Griffin gave up $13 million to get to the Nets. LaMarcus Aldridge gave up $6 million to get to the Nets. As much as you can figuratively buy a championship in basketball, the Nets, that at one point in time had 41 collective all-star appearances on their roster. Woo-hoo! That's as close to buying a chip as you can get. Damn.
I hate this for a number of reasons. And the first one is that the team that Dr. J is most closely associated with, the Philadelphia 76ers. They tried to game the system too. They tried to buy a championship by abjectly losing for 4 years in order to get as many #1 picks as they could to try to build a championship team. So if we're going to talk about what's sporting and what's competitive, I don't know that losing purposely all those years in order to get the picks necessary to build a championship team, as opposed to, say, what the Brooklyn Nets have done, which is build a culture and attracted players that other players want to come to because they see the opportunity to win a championship. I'm not going to fault the Nets that LaMarcus Aldridge was willing to give up money and Blake Griffin was willing to give up money because they looked at what the Brooklyn Nets had and said, you know what? I want to go to that market. I want to go to that team. I want to play with those players. But here's the biggest problem with what Dr. J said. The super team model fails almost as often as it succeeds. I mean, look, we can look at what the Warriors have accomplished or what the Miami Heat have accomplished, but the Nets to this point have not won a championship. So right. They haven't technically bought anything. And what they did is they mortgaged their future in order to put themselves in this position. We still have to see whether it's going to pay off or not. But I can give you the 2000 Blazers, the 2013 Lakers, the 04 Lakers with Kobe, Shaq, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, the 99 Blazers, the 97 to 99 Houston Rockets, where Charles recruited Scottie Pippen and demanded that he be traded to Hakeem Olajuwon. I got the receipts for those, by the way. Woo! All that happened 20-some years ago. So this idea that they bought a championship and they're like the first team or this is a recent occurrence, that is wrong. And that it's a guarantee that it's going to happen, that's wrong too.
Yeah, I love Dr. J, but I hate what he just said here in that nice little chair he was sitting in there right now. Oh, it's a version of virtue signaling. Dr. J trying to sit up on high and say, oh, in my era, and I was so competitive. Ooh, Dr. J, careful. Let's give a tribute to our guy, LeVar Arrington, and sing a song for Dr. J. Y'all ready? Why you always lying? You lying up here, Dr. J. What the hell? You can't trust this Google machine, or can you? Dr. J and his 76ers were 0-3 in the NBA Finals first 6 seasons in Philadelphia. And then all of a sudden, they went out there and got them league MVP, Moses Sweatin' Malone. And all of a sudden, they finally get their title and breakthrough. Is that stacking the deck? Is that loading up? I don't know what you want to call it, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Acho, listen to this. Oh, man. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. You talking about all this money, Acho, in people's pockets, counting bank statements and all that. It ain't tricking if you got it. And Blake Griffin like, I got it. I go get what I want. But let's do this, because I want to educate some people out there, because there is a version that all this player empowerment is bad for the league. No, all they did was take the baton from general managers and organizations, say, hey, y'all been doing it since the beginning of time. It's our turn to do it right now. And since player empowerment is taking over, like Slick Rick said, 50-50 results wherever you want to go with it. But let's just look over time where teams stacked the deck. When Jordan and the Bulls added Dennis Rodman. What about the Celtics when they added Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett? The Heat, obviously, with that big three looking good. Warriors added KD. Let's go even further. Let's go deeper than that. Are you an outcast? Bill Russell and them dudes played with 9 Hall of Famers. Let me stop. Showtime Lakers, they went out there balling out of control, 3 Hall of Famers. Man, stop. If you're just mad that players are doing it and not general managers now, say that. But if you act like this is something new to the NBA, Dr. J, why you always lying?
Sales. I'm not going to blame a team necessarily for playing with Hall of Famers, because it depends how you got it. The Golden State Warriors, for example. I don't know how Steph, Clay, and Draymond will all stack up, but I'm not going to look at Golden State and say they had a team of 3 Hall of Famers, because those 3 Hall of Famers and their success was inundated within Golden State. They didn't go out and shop and pick and
you like general managers?
Now, as it stands with Dr. J, he isn't necessarily lying, because buying has a connotation of money. You got 17 players in the NBA this year that started the season with at least $33 million contracts. 4 of them play for the Nets. So roughly 25% of the players who got $33 million in the whole NBA are on the Nets roster. You got max contracts deals. 4 players on the Nets signed max contract deals. Only other team, the most another team has, is 3. So when Dr. J is talking about buying a championship like the Yankees, no, you can't actually do that, because baseball, no salary cap, basketball, salary cap. But when I look around and I say 17 players enter the season with a base salary of $33 million, and the Nets got 4 of them players, so 25% of the league with a base salary of $33 million is on one team, that's as close to buying a championship as you can get.
See, this is my exception, Acho, is that you paid top price for, what are we going to go with, the Range Rover or the Bentley? Which one you want to go with?
Go with the Bentley.
Whatever, which one? We'll say for the Range Rover, right? You paid that number, and the expectation is, oh, damn, Acho got the best car. But if the car doesn't get to the finish line, if the car doesn't win you the race, then all you did was spend a lot of money. You didn't necessarily buy anything.
I love that. All I heard was $33 million. I know I'm going to get a couple of texts and a couple of voicemails. Hey, girl, where the Nets play? $33 million? Ain't nothing wrong with you. Got it, big dog. Coming up, Matthew Stafford moved out west side, to sunny Los Angeles. That's right. He moved to my neighborhood. I saw. But we'll tell you if we're sold on the Rams offense.